called today moving day. It was a day for us to get the sheep. I think you can see them behind me up on top of the hill. We're doing that for several reasons, and I'll kind of go over that here. I've done some shorts on it, but this just gives a little bit more time to be able to discuss it. Moved them up the hill. And you can see we're just using some chicken netting, some electrified netting, and then we're still running our reels in between. Definitely a different system than we've done, although similar, but it's a different hookup system for our electric. It'll work just fine. I'm not too concerned about it, but we wanted to give our main paddock a break. And our main paddock is basically a big rectangle for the most part, about a 5-acre rectangle. I'm going to kind of walk over here so I can show it a little bit more. About a 5-acre paddock that, just imagine a rectangle that we've gone a perimeter 5 high tensile wire all the way around it. Okay, some of the high tensile wire does need tightened back up, so if you see that in the background, yes, we know we need to tighten it back up. It's been running about 9,000 volts, so really good. We have a bunch of coyotes in the area. We have not had any coyote attacks, and we don't have a guardian dog down here with them. Our Great Pyrenees are up the hill with the other animals, but they don't have access to down here. So far, we've had them down here over a year. We've not had any attacks, even though the coyote are very heavy in this area. So one of the reasons why we wanted to get the sheep moved up higher, one, my wife likes seeing them out the window, a little bit easier. They are pretty to watch. We can see them from our office, from up here. But the other main part is this grass here. We wanted to give it a break. Not that it necessarily needs it really heavy. You can see we've got it. I don't know how well you all can see. Let me pan you around. This is probably between 12 and 18 inches tall. All this is here. And it pretty much stays like that the whole way down. A little bit thinner over here because the sheep had just grazed here. So if I can split the line here, the right side was grazed about 75 or 80 days ago. The left side was just grazed. Now, keep in mind, we do kind of the adjusted method. So we have them moving typically every 2 days. But there are times where I'll see the grass, maybe they need moved daily. We have done that as needed, but we adjust as fit. But the main thing is we want the sheep eating the tips of the grass, leaving all their droppings, all that good fertilizer. Keep the soil cool from having, or cooler from having a thicker layer of grass on it. Lets the soil have a better microbial life, and then keep them moving. Really, you're looking at its improvement in the soil, which improves the grasses, which then improves your livestock you're running. This method could also be used, we use it with sheep, but we have had cows before. We do plan to have cattle again. And we would, in that instance, we would interspecies graze them. We would have both the sheep and the cattle together. This system down here works well for it. One of the other reasons was just to give this a break, is it minimizes how much hay we have to buy. Sheep don't eat a whole lot of hay in the winter. We learned that last year. They eat very little hay. They would rather paw through the ground and nibble at the stuff that's on the ground, leaves, weeds, stuff here. We would put out hay, and yes, they would go to it initially, but most of the times a lot of the hay was just kind of left there. They didn't eat a ton of it, and we had heard that before buying them, but I was skeptical. Having grown up on a cattle farm, I really didn't see how sheep would leave hay around or wouldn't eat a whole lot of it, but that was the case. That's how it worked for us. Although I will say there's a caveat to that. Last year's winter was very mild. here in Kentucky. It was mild. So we'll see. If we have a harsh winter, that may change. But what we've done, and I'm in a little bit of glare here with the sun. So we've left all this. We're going to leave this probably, I don't know the exact date, but we will leave all this sit and rest until probably mid to late January. Maybe the beginning of February, depending on how everything's going. Reason for that is we get about 75 days to 80 days rotation on this paddock. And for us in Kentucky, by about mid-March, typically, we're starting to see some things come back to life, definitely by April. So if we move them in here as, say, let's just say February, that gets us towards the end of March with them having one full rotation on this paddock where we've let it sit. And like I said, this is all tall. I don't know how well it's coming up on camera, but I mean, this is all pretty good. We got some clover in here. They will, I know a lot of the sugars and nutrients go down to the root system, but not all of it. And there's still enough. And like I said, last year when they were doing this, I wasn't seeing a drop in their body mass. They look like they handled this extremely well. One of the other reasons that we want to save this to more like February, typically February, in my opinion, is our worst month weather-wise. This system, having the high tensile fence here, high tensile fence there, and all we do is we hook the strand. I don't have one on me because we just moved it up the hill. Put a poly wire reel on here, go from end to end, and that creates our paddock. That is the simplest move. On average, I would say it takes me about 10 minutes to move sheep, and I do that every 2 days. And that's all the time it takes. They are the least time evoking animal that we have on the property right now, meaning they are our most efficient. There's very little hay, very little water, and with this system, once we had this system down, the time spent moving them cut drastically. Was a huge difference, allowing us to spend time doing other things. And the sheep are happy. They're doing well. They're gaining weight. They look good. But I'll see if I can show you a little bit more what we're having to do. We're having to take some of our chicken fence, create some paddocks. We're still using the reels to create our divides, but we don't have any strong post and heavy high tensile wire like we do down here. So hooking the reels is a little bit more of a challenge. I'm having to, and I don't have any of the really, I don't want to use our extra fiberglass T-post, but we could. I just don't want to have to pull them back out of the ground every time. But right now, what we've got going up the hill here is we've got the chicken wire. We've got strand. We did this before we got the sheep. We had some of the fencing done. So this goes down the length. We are connecting over there using strings. The the fencing is not touching the wood. It's not touching the metal. We've got it suspended using some rope. And then it just feeds back up to the electrified netting. But the sheep are doing well with this. They just moved about an hour ago. They love being moved from paddock to paddock. But this is different because I think they've only been up here one other time in the last year. So they're hitting some ground that we really only rotate to this section about twice a year. I would prefer to get that up to more like 4 or 5 times a year, but we need more livestock. So we need our stocking density to increase, which is the plan. Our plan right now is just to keep all of our ewes and just keep adding to the flock. That's the whole goal right now, is just keep growing with that. And hopefully that kind of made sense, seeing what we're doing, trying to give this 5-acre paddock a rest break. Right now it's towards the end of October. So we're going to let it rest end of October, probably till the end of January, and then we'll bring them back down here when it's really cold and nasty over the winter. This is our most efficient move with the way we have our fencing system and the polywire dividers. It takes very little time, takes one person, whereas some of the other stuff, it really helps to have multiple people. This only takes one person to do, and we're able to get them efficiently moved. And they'll have plenty of grass to eat down here. They've got more down here right now than we did last year when we moved them here. So they'll be in good shape. They'll handle winter well. We will still obviously get hay, but we don't have to buy a whole bunch like we would if we had cattle. That may change next year because we do have plans to get cattle back on the property. That will change. It may change. That will change. But for right now, we just got the sheep. So sheep and chickens and goats and rabbits and cats, dogs. And we got the pigs, but no cattle on the property as of right now. So thanks for watching. If you watch this long, give us a like and subscribe. You know, all the good YouTube stuff helps us promote our channel. And thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You all have a good one.